Hi guys, I'm now live. Here we are on Thursday, sometime in April, and we're going to go live today for our 5 and 10. I am Kim Marshall, co-founder of Swell Public Relations and host of the Global Wellness Summit podcast that many of you might have listened to. And I'm also host of these Leader Livecasts that take place every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 Pacific and 3:30 Eastern. We want to ask 5 key questions to industry leaders in about 10 minutes. But when they're really juicy and sometimes have so much to share, we go overtime. So just hang in there. I also want to say that I felt so much better. I'm always nervous about connecting and all this stuff. But I saw Katie Couric and Maria Shriver both have trouble yesterday for their live cast. So I do not feel bad anymore. We're really thrilled about our guest today. It's a big shot. She's a big shot in the travel industry. Her name is Terrie Hansen. She's Senior VP from Virtuoso Travel. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Virtuoso Travel, there probably aren't many, but let me read it to you. I want to get it right. Virtuoso Travel is the leading travel agency network that specializes in luxury and experiential travel in the world. It's a by invitation only travel organization. They represent or include 1,100 travel agency locations, 22,000 travel advisors in more than 50 countries around the world. So imagine how they've been affected. They have preferred relationships with more than 2,000 of the world's best hotels, resorts, cruise lines, airlines, tour companies, and premier destinations. So let me tell you. And Terrie leads marketing, communications, and PR efforts for Virtuoso. She also is over all their publications, which are many. Virtuoso Life Special Editions, Virtuoso Traveler, travel catalogs in the US and Canada, in Australia, New Zealand, and Latin America. Now, I see she's here, so let's grab Terrie without further ado. Let's see, Terrie, are you there? Virtuoso Life. Virtuoso Ltd. Are you there? Virtuoso. I spelled it wrong. Virtuoso. I don't see you, Terrie. So, Ltd. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, let's see. Nope. Okay, Terrie. Let me hear you. Are you there? Virtuoso, I don't see you. Okay, I'll let Darlene work on that. There she is. Oh, there she is. Let's just see. I told you, if Maria Shriver has these problems, then I don't feel bad. Okay, let's go live. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. It's just a little bit of a delay. But, you know, the travel industry is the largest employer in the U.S. Look at Terrie's there. Hi, Terrie.
Hi, how are you?
Look, I'm fine, and I'm so glad you're here today. You know, I was bragging about you and bragging about Virtuoso before you got on. But first and foremost, Terrie, I have to just take a deep breath that we're both in the travel industry, have been all our careers, right?
Right.
It's dear to our hearts, and yet it was the hardest hit and the most immediately hit by the COVID shutdown.
Right.
So, Terrie, let's get straight into it. Can you tell us how COVID, you know better than me, how has COVID affected the travel industry?
Well, everyone out there listening is a traveler, so they probably know, but they may not know the really vast extent. And as we sit here and speak today, every cruise ship in the world is at dock. 75% of all hotels around the world are closed, and many of them that are actually open to help house healthcare workers.
Right.
And about 85% of the world's airline capacity has been cut back. So it was one of the first industries. In fact, when this first happened at Virtuoso, we felt, oh my gosh, the travel industry is in for a really rough go. And of course, it didn't take long for us to really realize we might have been the first, but many, many industries quickly followed suit. So it's been hard. And I think on a much larger scale, the travel industry affects the world's GDP. It's actually 1 in 10 jobs in the world is associated to travel and tourism. And I think it's 1 in 5 jobs out of the last 10 years that have been newly created are in the travel and tourism sector. So it's a big deal. Yeah.
It's a big deal. And you know, when you think about the freedom, we asked some people what emotions they've had through this COVID shutdown. And I'll tell you, when you think about the ability to go where we want, if we have the means, just get on a plane and hop. Right. And also, I'm, you know, a small town girl from the Midwest. Travel changed my life. And to see that, you know, we just can't do it. We don't know for how long right now, right?
Right.
So tell us how you guys have pivoted. You're right there at the forefront. There's a lot of hotels waiting for this to go away. What specific things is your business doing differently this time? What about if sales have stopped, your stores closed? What are you advising your travel professionals to do?
Yes. And so if your listeners don't all know, Virtuoso is a network of about 20,000 luxury travel advisors. And as you can imagine, the travel advisors, once this started, instead of planning and executing new trips for summer vacations and spring break, they were walking back every trip they had spent the last 6 months to a year planning. So those clients who relied on their services were also relying on them to undo everything.
That's right. I have a friend who does it every day, all day, right?
Yeah. And so the pivot really became, I mean, just more of natural instinct of, okay, as a travel advisor, your instincts kick in and your job is to help your client. And so it just really made, you know, all the difference, I think, for clients who love the service of an advisor. When times were good, they really understood how important those services are when things went awry. You know, in the weeks following all of this, one of the things Virtuoso has talked with all the travel agencies and travel providers in our network, we're shut down for the most part. And so what can we be doing right now? And so what's the pivot? Well, there's a lot of things, you know, when times are great, you'd love to do and you don't have time for it. You know, and
cleaning out the closet professionally, right?
Yeah. That's a great analogy. You know, I've got 20 pair of shoes ready to donate as soon as donations are open. But professionally, yeah. And that for a lot of businesses, one of the most important assets most businesses have is their consumer database.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately, in busy times, that's last. And so probably in order to be ready for when things come back is to really pay attention to your client database, purging clients who are no longer clients, thinking thoughtfully about names that should be on that list that you want to market to, things like that. I also think that this is an ideal time for people to raise their own personal game a little bit with professional development. Now, there's been a lot said about that. You know, a crisis is not the time to put a lot of pressure on yourself to learn how to speak a new language, or in my case, learn how to cook when I can't boil water. You know, so I'm not saying that necessarily. It's not in that pressure way, but it's more about, I've always wanted to take this, you know, sign up for a webinar that talked about wellness, or I've always wanted to kind of try out yoga, but I didn't know where to start. You know, there is a little bit of a gift of time here to allow people to learn something new. And then from a business, I want to, one more item I wanted to kind of address is for companies, it is an opportunity to look hard at your technology infrastructure.
Wow.
And really, have you utilized the many tools that are out there over the last several years? Because it's amazing. Zoom is a perfect example. And, you know, social media, another example. Look at the number of people that downloaded Zoom in a matter of a week or two. It is astronomical. Microsoft Teams, our company is using Microsoft Teams. And, you know, we had started about a year ago with using it for IM and a couple of, you know, sharing of documents or what have you. But obviously now we're taking it to a whole new level. And so from a business perspective, your client database, your technology infrastructure and your technology IQ. And then, maybe just taking a little bit of time to learn something new. I think that those are really practical things people can do.
Well, I have to just echo the things you've said. My family and we always talk about emotions during this shutdown. We had a trip to Finland and Portugal planned. For many reasons, it was a big deal to our family. My son is 20. It'll probably be the last time he goes on a big journey with us. We were going to check out Portugal for possibly retiring there in a number of years. We had so much planned. Instead, those 2 weeks were spent. My husband took off because he works at a hospital, and it was supposed to be the peak in LA. And we didn't, we thought it'd be more safe for him to be here then.
Right.
That was really not the same emotion we were planning to do at that time. So, so people, and also the travel planner for the event we were going to in Finland gave us a tip that saved us so much grief. They said, wait to cancel your trip, your flights. It was for June. Because the airline might cancel the flight first and save you all that headache. Guess what? It happened. I was so glad they told us, and it happened. So a lot less stress. Okay. Sure. The other thing I want to say, what you said about taking this time, Terrie, there's a beautiful travel writer, Becca Hensley. She's one of the most talented in the world. She wrote a post. How many times have you been to Africa, Terrie? How many?
5 times.
5 times, right. I've been once, changed my life. And she said to look at this time in your life as like the time between the morning drive, lunch, and the evening drive, because it's just a time when the animals sleep, the earth breathes, and you contemplate life and take a breath. I hold on to that. It's so amazing. So that gave me some hope. Share 3 things, Terrie, that have given you hope during the shutdown.
Well, I think without realizing it, I know me personally, but a lot of my friends and business colleagues had somehow ended up on a little bit of a rat wheel. I mean, one of the things that's amazing about 2019 has been what a great year it was for almost every business sector.
Yeah, right.
So like we went, and I will say, digress a bit, we went from how high is up to how low is down in about 30 days. But be that as it may, when things are going that well for businesses, you almost get at this frenetic pace to keep pace with your own success. Right. And I think one of the things that has given me hope about this is, for unimaginably horrible reasons, it's actually forced everyone to slow it down.
Yeah.
To kind of bring it inward. And to kind of roll things back to maybe how things might have been 20 or 30 years ago. And, when you look at then what's happening with, Earth Day was yesterday, what's happening around the world in cities that have had smog and where you couldn't see the Himalayas in India, and where, dolphins are swimming. That's the one everybody uses as an example.
In Venice,
and canals. But, when you look at for me, what gives me hope is that it's incredibly important for us to pay attention to the planet and the world we're leaving our kids and our grandkids. And I think the great thing now is that we have physical evidence to share and show everyone what happens when we do things differently. It can make an immediate impact. And so that gives me hope. I think the other thing has been watching the world be kind. And, the media, probably in every country, but especially the US, the sensational bad stories sell. And I see the media filled with beautiful stories of people, going out on their balconies to clap for healthcare workers, literally in every country around the world. And, people donating their time and their energy and their resources to do what they can to help those that this tragedy affects the most, those who are sick and their loved ones, and those who have lost work and are financially strapped. So
well, one of the things that I love is that what you said about just go, do. Number one, heart attacks have suddenly, and strokes, just like flatlined in growth, right? What does that tell us? And then also the way we consumed travel, it almost was like experience after experience, rack it up. You don't even have time to take a breath. You've been there, I got to go there. You've done this, I got to do that. Instead now, I mean, dig through some of your pictures and look at some of the amazing things that we've gotten to do, and please appreciate them. Now, things will change, but as far as your things that we can learn from that Virtuoso is doing, you have so many magazines. I want
Right.
to tell everybody this is Kim Marshall from Swell Public Relations and the Leader Livecast from Global Wellness Summit. But all this will be online. We can look at it. And I've made a conscious decision to go past our 10 minutes, Terrie, because you are full of information
Okay.
and we need to know it. So what are some of the things we can learn from Virtuoso as a business leader right now?
Well, one of the things, kind of what we're saying here, and we're not struggling to come up with the most clever, tagline or anything like that, but we're trying to kind of recast travel in that, number one, it's the one thing you buy that makes you richer. It's the one thing that you spend your money on that you come out richer in the end. And it actually provides value in three ways. First of all, there's fun in dreaming and anticipation. That phase alone is a blast. And if that's all we can do right now while we're all stuck at home, there's still some fun in that. To your point, get out the pictures, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the fun you have actually having the experience. And then the third thing is actually the memories you make grow richer over time. They grow more valuable to you over time. And so,
like a good wine. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And so really making sure people do appreciate their travel instead of the go, go, go. You mentioned it, the trip that you had planned and why that meant so much to you. If you really stop and think about, there's business travel, but leisure travel is really your purposeful way to spend your most precious asset that you have, and that is your free time.
Yeah.
Because you can't, you can go and work and make more money or do what have you, but you cannot renew that asset. And so time is the most precious thing we have. And the time you travel is the time you get to experience new cultures, try new food, do new things. And most of the time you're doing it with the people you love the most. Your girlfriend trip, your spouse or your loved one, your kids, your extended family. And so it's kind of actually, for the first time in my life, I have 0 trips on the calendar for the next 4 months.
I can't too.
Right?
I can't believe it.
And
it's called the good old days. When you see a person rolling a wheeler thing in the airport, you're like, wait, that used to be me. And I'm wearing the same 5 outfits. I'm so depressed. Like,
yeah. I saw someone post the other day on social media that I can't believe I actually missed the TSA agents, and someone else shot a lonely photo of their carry-on bag and said, I can't wait till we're together again.
I know. It's so true. Well, listen, I think so much of what travel means and how it might adapt. And when you pivot positively and how creative this is making us. Like, for instance, I have a girlfriend, she's on Cita Couture. She makes microbial, really healthy, green eco masks. And I said, we're all going to be wearing them on planes and stuff. So brand them. How brilliant is that? And have a really cool, fashionable one. That's a new change. I also see people here. I love people from around the world. We have, Spain listening, Mexico. You have to read these comments, Terrie. You're going to be touched. But what are you personally doing to bring yourself joy each day that we can learn from?
Well, I'm probably doing the same things you guys are doing. Number one, I am getting outside to walk my dog. My dog is going to be the healthiest dog on the planet because he gets 3 walks a day. I actually, the first week or 2 that I was at home, I spent some free time in my yard pulling weeds, and it became a joy instead of a chore. Just getting your hands dirty and, getting outside. And so it sounds ridiculous, but it's simple things. And sitting down at the table, my college age son, who was a freshman, is home from California. And, I have 6 more months with him. That is the biggest gift. So that brings me joy, that kind of thing. And then of course, all the Zoom happy hours, come on, that's really fun. Now,
I told you we had Goop's beauty editor. She was giving us tips for glowing on your Zoom happy hour. Now, listen, before we go, I have a list here that you guys came up with on a webinar recently of what you predict for the future of travel. Sort of things like using travel agents more. Can you remember what some of them are? I haven't printed out, so.
Oh, no.
Okay. So
But
you
I will
said
say,
you said there's gonna be a focus on domestic and hyper local travel, that private villas will be used more,
yeah,
short getaways, shared. Um, of course, cleanliness, that's so boring,
right,
and
right.
self-guided experiences. So what do you have to say about those things?
Yes, that I do recall now that you read them all out. Those are actually, things that the virtuoso advisors that we're talking to are telling us what they think things are going to look like. Um, I will say, I think the trend to use a travel advisor is going to be huge, because if you book online or you do it yourself, then when things go wrong, you're the person on hold for 3 hours
Yeah.
versus someone who has the connections and the relationships to help you. And when we come out of this, travelers are going to have a lot of questions. Where is it safe to go? What kind of experience, if I go there, is the spa open? Is the restaurant at the hotel going to be open? And I think when you have someone who really, this is their craft and their business, to help you do that, your time and your money is well spent. So I think that's going to be huge. And I think travel will rebound. We know it will.
It's
And
doing it in China. Yeah,
yeah.
right now.
And I think we all probably realize, like you just said, with the designer face mask or the logo face mask, we all probably know in our hearts it's going to look a little different. But just after we did, after 9/11, we weren't used to taking off our shoes and, full body scans, but now we don't blink. It's our new normal. I think we'll have some new normals post this crisis, but I think the human spirit is strong and the human wanderlust is strong, and the world over the last couple of decades has become a very, very small place.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can hold people back from their desire to see it all, to meet the people, to experience the culture, and to really, really check off the things on their wonder list.
So Terrie, you guys, I'm going to end with this. You specialize in luxury experiential travel. I will tell you, and going to Tahiti for 12 years, Hawaii, Easter Island, what makes the difference? It's not the shininess and the marble of the spa. It's the people that you meet. So for us, to think that travel employs the most people in the world, and we get to touch them, and I mean literally emotionally touch, right? Like the tour guide I met in China who said, I could have been a doctor, but I'd rather interact with people from around the world. So I'm a tour guide. So
Yeah.
this is what we want to uphold. We want to go toward that. We'll find a way. The Roaring Twenties happened after 1918, right? So Terrie, thank you for leading the way for us in travel. We're going to be looking for you. So you better be ready to get busy and get out of your garden.
And here's to all of us being global citizens.
I couldn't say it better. Thank you for your time, Terrie. We're going to be in touch. Oh, and everyone, this will be on the Global Wellness Summit website. You'll be able to see this, share it with your friends. And please listen to the Global Wellness Summit podcast. It's Kim Marshall from Swell Public Relations and Terrie Hansen from Virtuoso.
Thanks
See
a
you
million.
later.
Bye.